Hey now, you're an all-star, get your game on, go play. Hey now, you're a rock star, get the show on, get paid. All that glitters is gold, only shooting stars breaks the mold. Oh my goodness, Shrek is 20 this year. Oh my goodness, I am feeling not old but ancient. Now that Shrek is 20 and it came out in 2001, that means Harry Potter is 20, Lord of the Rings is 20, The Mummy Returns is 20, Rush Hour 2, Ocean's 11, Atlantis the Lost Empire, Jurassic Park 3, and the list goes on of films in the early 2000s finally turning 20. Where's the time going, people? Shrek is a 2001 3D animated film developed by the Dreamworks Animation Company and stars the voice cast of Mike Myers, Eddie Murphy, Cameron Diaz, and John Lithgow. So this movie is about Shrek the Ogre. He is someone that wants to live peacefully and alone in his swamp. That is until the evil Lord Farquaad puts fairy tale creatures unlawfully in Shrek's swamp. And in doing so, Shrek has to go up to Lord Farquaad with his donkey in order to go against him to get all these fairy tale creatures back from where they were from. And as Shrek is going on this journey, he actually begins to build a very meaningful relationship with Donkey. And as Donkey and Shrek are in this journey, Shrek also rescues Princess Fiona from the Dragon Tower, and little does Shrek know that he eventually falls in love with the Princess Fiona of this fairy tale story. Shrek is a movie I love very, very much. Every time I rewatch this movie, I always get nostalgic vibes of the early 2000s, and anytime I hear the DreamWorks theme or even parts of the soundtrack of this film, I instantly get flashbacks of my childhood living in the early 2000s, because this is a movie that I used to watch several times because of how funny and exciting and adventurous this is. This is a movie that I not only loved as a kid, but it's also a film that I began to appreciate way more as a grown-up, and that is thanks to how well this movie has aged 20 years later. I mean, even since 2001, I cannot believe that Shrek was a movie that was so ahead of its time. And that is thanks to the amazing writing that this film has with not just Shrek, but even Donkey, Farquaad, Fiona. And it's so genius and clever because of how it plays with fairy tale tropes and mixes them together to basically make this movie a fairy tale of its own without it recognizing it. The biggest energy that comes from Shrek is the voice cast alone. You cannot help but appreciate all of the voice actors in this movie. Mike Myers as Shrek, Eddie Murphy as Donkey, Cameron Diaz as Princess Fiona, and John Lithgow as Lord Farquaad. And don't you get me started on the iconic duo between Shrek and Donkey, because Shrek and Donkey are cinema's two greatest friends to ever exist in 3D animated film history, because when you see Shrek and Donkey on screen, you buy them as friends, and I just have so much fun seeing the two of them on screen and also seeing how the movie progresses with their friendship and relationship. It's really cool to see how Shrek helps Donkey realize his anxieties and how Donkey can stand up for himself, but also you even have Donkey helping Shrek out, making sure that he's not very selfish, that he shouldn't just be fighting for just a swamp, but also his friendship with him and Fiona and all of the other fairy tale creatures. And this is a movie that just really establishes a great dynamic relationship and friendship between these two characters, which is why people definitely remember those two characters in animation history, especially for a film like Shrek. Also, look at the 3D animation 20 years later. This animation looks so flawless, and it feels like it actually could have came out in 2021. I mean, everything in terms of the animation, the movement of characters, the lighting, the colors, this fairy tale-like setting and environment surrounding all of these characters and inhabitants of this movie. Everything of the animation just looks flawless, and you just gotta give props to the DreamWorks animators who worked on this movie back in 2001. And that is kind of another reason why people need to revisit Shrek, because of those animation styles and how they really reflect everything that this film has. Even though Shrek is a movie that has several jokes for kids, it is also a movie that has several mature messages and themes. And rewatching it just recently, I realized how mature this movie was for its time. Not just because of the funny childhood jokes, but also for the fact that this film has several themes about how big friendships can be. What does it mean to be in a relationship? How does it feel to be judged by the world, even though you don't have a problem with the world, but the world has a problem with you? And especially how this film just flips the tropes of fairy tales, how the ogre is the winner overall instead of Prince Charming and the knights. It's a movie that is just so sincere and honest and even surprising at times that you just begin to love and adore this film as time goes on. And that is basically how special Shrek is. Not really just because of the jokes, but because of how memorable the themes, the songs, and even the influence this movie had since 2001. I mean, for goodness sake, this movie was the first movie to win Best Animated Features in the Oscars in 2002, and it was even selected for the National Film Registry last year in 2020. It was the first Dreamworks animated film selected for the National Film Registry, which is why Shrek is such a landmark film. This is a film that is heartfelt, it's funny, it's comedic, it's adventurous, it's exciting. That is basically the reason why I have to give Shrek a 10 out of 10! And thank you so much for watching. Man, I apologize for being out for a month and a half. Seriously, this semester has been one of the busiest I have ever been through because I've had way more readings and assignments to deal with, and I just wanted to make this movie review for Friday night, especially for the fact that I just rewatched Shrek at the university because they replayed Shrek for its 20th anniversary, and I felt the need to just finally be honest with my appreciation and my thoughts for Shrek. Thank you very much for watching as usual, and I really hope to make more videos sometime soon. Thank you very much, guys!